Welcome to the Overland Sea podcast. Today we are talking about the Newcastle away game that's happening on Monday night. Andrew, the Newcastle are currently 10th with 40 points. I did not realise they had dropped that low, if I'm brutally honest. They've won 12, drawn 4 and lost 11. Their last 6 fixtures, they beat Wolves 3-0 at home, drew with Blackburn in the FA Cup away 1-1, lost Arsenal away 4-1, drew to Bournemouth at home 2-2, beat Forest 3-2 away, and drew with Luton at home 4-4. And just quickly, the injuries. Tonali, as we know, is suspended. Callum Wilson, Joe Linton, Pope, Trippier are all out. Hall can't play because he's facing his parent club. And Target will have a late fitness test. Chelsea, on the other hand. Fofana, he's pretty much out for the rest of the season. By the sounds of it now, after that last update that we have from the club. Lavia and Nkuku, James are all out. Badashil is having a late fitness test. Chukwuemeka, Gallagher and Colwell are also having late fitness tests. And Ugochukwu and Chilwell are also out now. I mean, to say that, Cucurella is now back, but I still feel, while we're on this subject, that we are quite short at the back, potentially. Tell me your thoughts on that subject.
Well, he seems to like Colwell, so I think even if Cucurella was back and Colwell is fit enough to play, Colwell will start at left back. That being said, we haven't got a lot of centre-backs either. You've got Trev, Dizazi and Alfie Gilchrist, I think, to potentially play centre-back at the fit ones.
Gilchrist can also play right back as well.
Gilchrist could also play right back. Gusto could play left back if that's an option. But yeah, we have been sort of embarrassingly short of how many defenders we have on a game-to-game basis. Been embarrassingly short a lot of the season. Didn't realise Chilwell was fully injured.
I don't think it's been this bad though since the beginning of the season with regards to defenders. This feels very much like it did, and that's when we went out and bought Dizazi.
Yeah.
For that reason.
I suppose Thiago Silva's around, but he's just not been. He's not injured, is he? So I suppose he's around, but
he's around, yeah.
It does feel like he's being phased out, which almost feels like you're an extra defender down. But yeah, we've had a lot of injuries all season. I don't think this is exceptional for us in terms of number of injuries. Midfield, it seems to have finally been impacted in centre midfield where we've kind of been alright. Well, we've just sort of had 3 midfielders and generally they've been fit.
We've had a couple of people swap in, swap out when needed.
Yeah, and I think
that 10 role more than anything else to cover.
Yeah, when Enzo had a bit of a hernia problem and we've just struggled after international breaks to get everyone back in time and fit. But yeah, I don't think it's an exceptional week for us. It's just unfortunately how our season's been with injuries, and I think once you've got this number of injuries, it's very difficult to keep the rest of your team fit because they kind of have to play even if they've got a niggle, and niggle becomes a severe injury. So yeah, frustrating. It'd be nice to go into a game with everyone fit for once, but
we've not had that for 3 seasons.
That's
realistically.
Yeah,
we've had this problem since Potter.
Yeah, well,
I don't think we had it beforehand as badly.
I think for most seasons we've not had Reece James and Chilwell fit at the same time.
Yeah.
For more than 8 games in the last 3 years, so just those two. Kante was injured before he left for a fair period, so we've had key players missing.
That's the difference
for most.
I think
of the time.
I think over the seasons building the season or two building up to when we had Potter, we had key players that had big injuries.
Yeah.
Whereas now we not only have those same key players, bar Kante, because obviously he's not with us anymore. But you still talk about Reece James. Chilwell has done okay since coming back, but again he's now injured again. Don't know about the time frame on that. James is still out. I think he's out for the rest of the season. The only way, I think we said this before, the only way I feel like he can come back is like a big FA Cup game if we get a bit of a spur going on in that, and that be it. But even then,
I've
it's a
seen
risk.
him when he came back for his first game back this season after being out injured for a while. He just didn't look at it. The bloke needs a fair amount of time. We can't just get him in an FA Cup final and expect the Reece James, the fully fit Reece James.
I'm not saying a final, but I'm saying like if we're already going to go for the FA Cup, then maybe and if he's ready, yeah, you get him on for some minutes and build him up that way, but keep him out of the Premier League because I just feel like it's done. But this season though, it feels and last season it feels more to do with volume that we're really struggling with. Like the volume of players that are injured more than anything else.
It's got no real rotation.
And now it's starting to impact the midfield again, which isn't good. Besides all that, because we'll get into more of that with the starting 11s, what are your thoughts going into this game? I mean, I didn't realise that Newcastle had so many key injuries as well. Trippier's the newest one to that list. But they still have players that can turn it on and do a good job. I mean, Anthony Gordon is one of them.
Anthony Gordon is a key player for them. I think Trippier is a key player for them. They've got a number of pretty key injuries.
Joe Linton, I think, is a big one as well.
Weirdly enough, and I don't think he's one of those where he shouldn't be, but he is.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Obviously, them having Bruno is really helpful for them. He's a big player for them. He massively improved them when he first came in from Lyon.
Gilmara's.
Exactly why I just called him Bruno because.
Well, you said I thought about Fernandes, but apparently we've been linked with him now.
Yeah, weirdly enough, Bruno Fernandes doesn't play for
Newcastle.
Newcastle.
I'm just saying, when you said Bruno, I just thought of Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Isak back, who's been injured recently. They've had similar injuries to what we've had, and definitely had sort of 12 out at one point. And I think that has massively derailed their season. From the recent fixtures, it does feel like they're a bit up and down and a bit bouncy, like we are. Maybe it's... You saw an uptick in their last performance, which might be certain players have come back and it has felt a bit more natural for them and they've started to pick up a bit more form. But Newcastle seem to be, from the times that we've played them this season, you don't know which Newcastle you're going to get.
Again, it's similar to us, I think how we've played.
Yeah.
You don't know which Chelsea's going to turn up. I mean, they were doing really well. Like I said, I didn't realise how much they've dipped since we last played them. I mean, I think the most annoying thing for me on this point of view is just the sheer fact that, they're one place ahead of us and it would be nice to think if we win this game, we could go above them. But we can't because they're on 40 and we're on 36. So...
Have we got a game in hand, though? I feel like we've missed out on games because
I think we do have a game in hand because of which is against Spurs.
Great.
I believe I want to say it's away. No, it's not. It's home.
Must be home.
It's a home game. So, yeah, we've got a home game against Spurs as our game in hand. So, yeah, actually, when you put it like that, winning this game would...
Put us in good stead.
Would put us in good stead to get back up to 10th.
Whee!
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it, to be fair, in terms of, I think every game at the moment is a big game. But, hopefully it's more just keeping that form going. I don't think we should have drew that game to Brentford. So there's another few points that we dropped because we shouldn't have performed the way that we did in the first half and allow them back in the second half. So really it's just about keeping that momentum and finishing the season as strong as possible, I feel, at this point.
Yeah. I mean, again, it is just like some weeks we're lethal and some weeks we just can't score for toffee. I don't really understand what the hell's going on. And it seems like it's almost everyone that does this, and they do it at the same time with the peaks and troughs. So, yeah, it's a struggle. You never know really which Chelsea's going to turn up, and fingers crossed, kind of hope.
But a lot of that's got to be I think some of that to some degree. At certain points, maybe not at the moment, because I feel like we had a very decent starting 11 where you kind of went, right, they're available, we know they're going to play. But there have been times where you don't know. Players were injured, and then you had to find someone else and get that momentum going again.
Oh so yeah, I think it's perfectly understandable, but I think it's perfectly understandable that we'd be really patchy. But the main difference, I think, we generally create a fair amount of chances.
Oh yeah.
Some weeks we look a little bit more discombobulated than others, where we just can't seem to find each other, and it gets a bit weird. But we still create a few chances and just don't score. Some weeks we're like that. We get 4 chances and we score all 4, and we score much more difficult chances than the ones that we missed the week before. So it does feel a bit weird this season, and part of me is now in a situation of let's just see what Casadei can do. Let's just see what Gilchrist can do. We're not going to make Europe, and I don't think it makes sense really to be in Europe next season.
No, not at the moment. No.
For the football team, I think financially it probably need it, but we need Champions League. We're better off probably not in the Champions League to give us more time to work on everything
Get
next
players
season,
fit,
get
keep
players fit, try and keep them fit, than we are being in Europa Conference League. That's probably the highest we'll get to if we win most of our games the remainder of the season, which I don't think is plausible. We keep putting these runs together, and then a few different players get injured, a few different players come back, and I think with Conor Gallagher potentially missing this game, it's going to be a difficult one for us to win, because he does galvanise our midfield, and I think if we don't win the midfield battle, we really struggle, and have done a lot this season.
Yeah, it's a very good point. You know, what he does with regards to his output with energy. You know, we don't have another player that we've seen, because let's face it, we had Casadei's come back in. We've not really seen him and see what he's going to be like within the team. You know, and I'm flirting between him and another player for that midfield spot. So with that, I feel like maybe we should go into the starting 11s.
Let's go into it.
Cool. Do you want to go first, or shall I go first?
You go first, because it sounds like you've got a weird one to go with.
Yeah, only with the midfield, just in terms of I've seen. Well, anyway, I'll get to that point. So in goal, I'm going to go with Petrovic, standard, nailed in. Right back, I'm going to go with Dizazi. Next to him, I'm going to go with Big Trev Chalobah. Then I'm going to have Silva at the left centre back, and I'm going to put Gusto at left back.
Okay.
That's the defence. Midfield. Midfield. So the two that I'm basically contemplating are: do I put Mudryk in the 10? And keep Caicedo and Enzo as is?
Yeah.
Or do I bring in Casadei and move Enzo further up and put Casadei next to Caicedo? Because I've really liked Mudryk. I just feel like, I don't know. Will Mudryk give us that? He's not going to give us the same presence as Connor. But I feel like Casadei, he's not afraid to sort of get stuck involved. We saw that when his first appearance when he came back. He just straight away, was it against Villa? I can't remember. Either way, he put in a big tackle in, and I was like, yes. So I think for that reason, as much as I like Mudryk in that 10 role, I am going to put in Casadei. So I'm going to put in Caicedo and Casadei. I have to think about that, getting those two names right next to each other, and then I'll put Enzo in the 10. You've got to put Jackson up front, realistically. Unless you want to play a risky one and put Mudryk there instead, but I don't think that's going to happen. So yeah, and then Jackson will be up front, and I will go with Noni on the left, because he has done there. He has been there a little bit. It'll probably be Sterling, but I feel like Noni could give their right back a bit of a hard time, because it's going to be Livramento, I reckon. I think he's going to be quicker than Livramento, and I'll put Palmer on the right.
He's not slow.
Yeah, but he's not Noni quick. He might better keep up with Sterling a bit more, but I don't think he's Noni quick.
I don't think there's a lot of difference in the pace between all three of them, to be honest.
Fair, but yeah, that's my starting 11.
Yeah, I think back four, it's difficult really to change it unless Levi Colwill is fit, in which case I'll probably stick him left back, but stick Gusto right back, and probably Dizazi will play with Trev.
I went with the safety of, like, do you know what? We've said it before. Stop fucking around with late fitness tests, and I'm not being funny. For me, I don't think we really want Colwill to be out more than really is necessary. We don't want Connor to be out more than really is necessary.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of went with safety first.
Yeah. I think, although I do want youngsters to play, and I do want to see what Casadei is about, I just don't really like Enzo further forward. I don't think it really works. So either it's a midfield three, it's more of a midfield three, and Enzo sort of we end up with 2 destroyers, and then Enzo's just kind of gets to do what he wants, and maybe that is slightly further forward, but I kind of lean against that. But then again, it feels a bit lightweight defensively to have Caicedo and Enzo without Connor in front of them, and I think that's part of the reason we've struggled. So it's difficult. I'd almost drop Enzo, you know.
I completely see where you. After the conversation we had against with the Brentford game, even when I was like saying, do you know what, I didn't think Enzo would be the one that we would be questioning in the midfield this season, but I feel like we are. I completely understand where you're coming from with that. So in that case, then, if you were to drop Enzo, what are you gonna do?
Would it be Caicedo, Casadei, Mudryk
Fair.
in front? Then I'd have a front 3 effectively of, it's more Jackson on the left, but like
The interchanging
with Jackson, Nonny and Palmer. With sort of Palmer having more of a, he goes where the fuck he wants and the others just sort of fill in.
Yeah, and I didn't say it, but I expect that now because it seems to work. To be fair,
he seems to like it. I don't think we get the best out of Cole Palmer in that situation. I'd rather he stuck out on the right, but I don't think Nonny likes playing left wing at all. I'd almost rather.
I couldn't give a shit. He's got to play.
And I think he likes almost having 2 players up top, and we might end up with sort of 2 up top and one of the wingers kind of floats around. It might just be sort of more of a 4-2.
We've done it before though, haven't we?
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's more of a 4-2-2-2. And effectively almost Cole Palmer's the 10, but pretty close to Jackson, and then Mudryk and Nonny are probably wide. But I think it's a difficult one in terms of you're not going to have really wing backs bombing on, because while Gusto will try, he's not left back, so he can't really go beyond. He'll want to cut in. Mudryk, if he plays out there, will want to cut in.
I think he's not got an awful left foot on him, Gusto, I don't think. But you are right, he's predominantly going to want to cut in. And I think out of the 2, he'll still be the one that gets forward more, because I still feel he's got more to offer in that final third. And he's quick enough to track back.
Yeah. I'd be worried if Zazi's the one that is really far forward in that situation. Although, he makes runs occasionally and runs forward, but it doesn't look like it's going to.
But Newcastle don't have slow wingers either.
True. Very true. So, yeah, difficult one. But I think that's what I'll go with.
Like I said, I was flirting with the Mudryk idea as well. I just thought maybe he might be better off coming in once the game's settled a little bit, and maybe the other team are a little bit tired. Hopefully, that's the only reason I didn't do it. I like your idea of the flat 3. It crossed my mind as well. We spoke about that against, I think, around the Brentford game as well. I suggested maybe a flat 3 could be the idea, but that was with Connor still. Not with Connor being injured. What's your score prediction and who's going to score?
It's difficult. Newcastle seem to score goals. So I'm going to go with a big Desmond 2-2.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Cole Palmer, and I'm going to go with Jackson.
Fair. Well, I was going to go 2-1.
Yeah.
To us.
Yeah.
Being positive and all that. And I was going to say Enzo and Palmer. Okay. Just because I put him that slightly
further forward.
I'm hoping either a late run into the box or a decent pass to him outside the box, and he might be able to swing it. Because I think that's the one thing that we forget with Enzo is he can get into the box, and as the season's gone on, he's got into the box a little bit more. And I feel like maybe he'll find a bit of space, and people might not expect to pick him up because he doesn't always go in. So it's not like that's your man. You've always got to get him. He runs at certain times, and other times he doesn't. So I'm hoping it will just throw off the defence a little bit at the right time. And Palmer's Palmer.
Palmer is Palmer.
So yeah. Anything else you've got for this episode?
That's it from me.
Lovely stuff. So with that, thank you all for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, follow, hit that notification button, and let's hear your score predictions. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the post-game analysis next week.